You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the June 13th meeting of the Michigan City Water Works Board. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Call the meeting of the Water Board June 13th to order. First item is approval of minutes from the meeting of May 23rd.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the Michigan City Water Board from May 23rd, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion second to approve the minutes from May 23rd. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Purchase order.
Alright, you have before you a list of 13 purchase orders. First purchase order, Flanagan tires for truck 4. It's confirming purchase order for $858.19. The next one is to Ferguson Materials for 418 Pokagon tap. The request came in at the last minute, and we had to special order a couple parts because that area of Michiana Shores that we took over has a uniquely sized water main, so we didn't have all our parts in stock for that. So that's confirming for $758.40. The next item is to Leaps. This is 1-inch copper for stock. This is confirming for $4,607.20. The usage got away from them, and they didn't catch that we needed it, that we were running low. So we're making some adjustments to how we're doing inventory. Hopefully that'll take care of it. Midwest meter, 5/8 meter for stock, confirming for $5,875.20. Ferguson 6-inch oversized Megalugs for stock, confirming for $3,030. We ended up using the last of ours. We had this main break over here on Highway 12, and the water main under there is it's the old water main, and so you have to use special Megalugs for them. The next item is to Weir's. This is repairs for truck 2, confirming for $2,391.93. We had issues with the cooling system, radiator, hoses, that sort of thing. The next item is to Environmental Safety Products for safety vests for $754.32. We keep a stock of safety vests on our shelf, so when the employees have to go out and do a job, they have safety vests if for some reason their vest gets destroyed. The next item is to Underwater Construction, inspecting east and west intake cribs for $8,480. We had this in the business plan as a operational item. We should check. Basically, our plan is to inspect them every other year. Yes.
What are intake cribs?
This is our pipes out into the lake.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is for divers and a boat and all that to go out there and check everything out.
Do the divers, are they people that work for our department, or
No, we hire
just
a company that underwater construction companies, and they do this inspection.
Well, I always
for us.
wondered about that.
Yeah, because it's the water
you knew
there's
what was
about
going
40
on
feet
out
deep,
there.
so
Yeah, put the cribs out deeper water so we don't get the cribs.
we don't get the sand. That was what was killing us, was the sand. The next item is to M&K Truck Centers, dump truck number 9's brake repairs. This was a confirming purchase order for $1,587.71. The next item is utility supply, Hymax couplings for stock for $3,790. Next item is to Ferguson repair clamps for stock for $3,863.92. The next item is to Beecher. This is 85,000 utility bills. With the utility bill, this is the forms that we use for billing. We have those pre-printed, and then we fill, and then our system will print the details for every account on them. This is about 6 months worth, so this should get us through the end of the calendar year for $2,286.61. And then the next item is to Midwest Meter, flanges, gaskets, and curb stops for stock for $2,898.60.
All right, any questions on the purchase orders?
I'll make a motion to accept the list of purchase orders dated 6/13/2023.
I'll second it.
There's a motion second that we approve the purchase orders dated 6/13. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Claims.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the list of claims dated June 13th, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion second, we approve the claims dated June 13th. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bad debt list.
Make a motion to approve the bad debt list for bookkeeping purposes only.
I'll second it.
Motion second, we approve the bad debt list as of June 13th for bookkeeping purposes only. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. William Bernard, you're up.
Okay, thanks again for taking the time to listen to me. I suppose before we get going, I should tell you a little bit about myself. Chris already knows this. We had a real good meeting. I first came to Michigan City when I was 21 years old in 1970. My girlfriend from Purdue at the time graduated from high school here. In fact, she was a cheerleader on the state championship basketball team. We got married in the Methodist Church. We had our wedding reception at the Long Beach Golf and Country Club, and came back pretty much every year just to visit her parents, who were basically lifelong residents of Michigan City. Her father was the manager of the Long Beach Golf and Country Club, as a matter of fact. When we could, 20 some odd years later, we bought a beach house, which became more and more of a regular house because we moved up here to put my son into Lawmere, where he graduated. My wife taught at Renaissance Academy, and we've been coming here ever since. I tell you this so that you don't get a misimpression that I'm just a summer guy that comes up here from time to time, all right? We bought our house in 2003. We've been paying taxes on it ever since. We've been paying our water bill on schedule. I don't think we've missed one time. We locked it up this past November, and I believe that Chris, being the quite thorough person that he is, has given you a copy of the letter that I wrote, as well as the record of the moving up in, as you can see, the water bill in April was, I think, $33, and the one in May is for $1,060. I know when the water, I know what happened. What happened is an upstairs toilet, the inside of the box cracked. That gizmo inside the box cracked, the water regulator. And as a consequence, the water kept running. Now, we've got a guy who winterizes our house for us, and he did do the outside so that the pipes wouldn't freeze. You with me? He did that part. But evidently, and I haven't checked this with him because he is now fighting for his life. He's got serious cancer problems and has been in and out of the hospital for the last 6 months. So I haven't bugged him. But I don't believe that he forgot to turn off the underwater water, I think. As soon as I found out about it, when my cleaning lady showed up on May 3rd, we turned it off. So we know when it was turned off. Now, we know what the reading was on the 20th, but was that when the reading was taken, Chris, on the 20th? That was the billing date.
No, that was the billing date. The meter was read on May 11th.
April 11th.
Well, the first reading, the previous reading was April 14th.
Okay, April 14th.
And then it was billed, and that bill was done on April 20th, and then we read it again on May 11th,
Right,
and that bill went out on May 20th.
yeah, okay. But we know the water was turned off on May 3rd. That much we know, all right? So what we're talking about here is 20 days when the leak could have begun. That's assuming that the leak began the day after the reading was taken. And the odds of that happening are, what, 1 in 20? If we're talking about a 20-day period of time, 1 in 20, for the odds of that occurring. So I think my letter, and you all had a chance to read my letter.
I did.
If you haven't, I'll go through it. But you've all had a chance to read it.
Yes.
All right. I just think that, well, I've got my own opinion. Certainly you all have your own opinions. Have you already made your decision? You've not made your decision yet.
We have our standard policy. We have our standard policy, which your request is an exception to. But I don't think we've made a decision here.
Okay. Well, this is an awkward thing for me, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a big fan of Michigan City Water Department, and I told Chris this very same thing, and I'm serious about it. I think you guys are the guardian of the lake and the most important entity in the entire city. I've been watching you guys for 50 years, literally. I've seen alewives, I've seen houses fall into the lake on more than one occasion. You guys are always there. You do you fix the pipes, it brings up the rocks, they go away in a season or two. I mean, you guys, the water bills are, almost always below $100 for everybody. Everybody benefits from your good work. So it's really hard for me to come in here and to say, guys, how in the world can you have a water bill go from $33 to $1,060 in 1 month and think that there's nothing wrong with that? I mean, I would say that, I mean, I'm not gonna, even people in the water department are kind of like rolling their eyes when they find out about it, because they don't want something like that to happen to them.
Right.
So, a leaky toilet for no more than 20 days, quite probably more like 15 days, 16 days, 14 days, who knows? It's going to cost over $1,000. I'm from Dallas, Texas. That's where my major residence is. And we don't have a great lake in Texas. And we don't have any lakes in Texas at all unless they're man-made. I mean, and in the summer, we'll go through patches where it's, Jamie, Christmas, 100 degrees for 30, 40, I think the record's 60 some odd days a year. It's happened 3 times in the 38 years that I've lived down there, where it's gone for 2 months, 100 days. Sprinkler systems, you have to water, I mean, big lawns, there's a lot of room down in Texas. I've never had a water bill, ever, over $800 in 38 years, not once.
Well, I mean, as far as the meters go, the type of meter that we use, it's called a positive displacement meter. So basically what happens is there's a device inside the meter that only moves if water moves through it. So it has to have water move it in order to function. One of the advantages to having those meters is when those meters start to fail, they usually fail slowing down. I have not, me personally, in 25 years well, actually 26 plus years now that I've been doing this, I've never seen one of those speed up. They always slow down and stop when there's a problem with the meter. The volume of water we're talking about, the volume of water is really going down a toilet. Yeah, it can happen. I've seen it happen elsewhere.
So you're telling me this is not uncommon to get a $1,000 bill for a half a month's worth of water?
It's not,
going through a broken
it's
pipe.
uncommon
This
for
is not
somebody,
uncommon.
no, what I'm saying is that volume of water and then therefore if that volume of water would be billed about the same. But what I'm saying is that volume of water going through going through the meter, down a toilet like that is very, very, very probable, possible to happen if the toilet guts break. That does happen. Now, as far as the dollar amount is concerned, it's really basically just the simple math of the volume of water times the rate for the water. And of course, with regard to the bill is a combination of water and sewer. So it's $504 at 84 cents of water, $517.93 for sewer. They base their bill off of whatever volume we read when we do readings. And our system for meter reading is basically, unless there's an actual problem with the meter to where it doesn't read, they just drive by and there's a computer that actually picks up a radio signal and dumps it into a computer. So we don't even have somebody writing down wrong numbers or anything like that. Now in this particular case, when we saw that the bill was going to be high, we did try to get in contact with you. But the phone.
I'd already turned it off by the time I got that notice from you guys.
Right, but the phone number, we tried to call and the number was different. You had a different number to get a hold of you than what we had in our system.
When did you call?
It was right after the meter reading. The lady that does the process.
The meter reading took place on May 11th.
Yeah, they
The
tried.
water was turned off on May 3rd.
We tried to call because we saw the high bill.
Yeah, but you called on May 11th. What I'm saying is,
Well,
the water was turned off on May 3rd, so.
yeah, what I'm saying is that's when we saw that there was a
Giving this
problem.
notice on May 11th didn't help us at all because the problem had already been solved.
Well, yeah, but there's other times that we've made those phone calls and people have a leak and they don't realize it and it's still going. So that's why we make those phone calls when we see a high usage that's way out of the normal for somebody. We try to catch that and get people's attention to it in case there is a problem. And we didn't get a hold of you because the phone number, so when we read it on May 11th, we tried to call you. I don't have the date right here in front of me, but it was either the 11th or 12th to let you know, hey, this is way out of whack.
I don't think this is pertinent to my particular situation. I understand what you're telling me. And you're telling me is you did try to contact me when you found out about the problem. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
That was on May 11th. What I'm saying is, I was in my house on May 1st, turned off the water below the toilet myself on May 3rd.
Yeah.
And so,
So you
May
you
11th
fixed the problem.
call, I appreciate, but I had already addressed the issue
Yeah.
over a week before that.
Yeah,
So,
We can't sit and monitor each one individually. We can't monitor each, water intake individually.
no, I'm not suggesting that you should. I understand the realities of that situation.
Okay,
Yeah, what I'm saying is, May 11th, if he contacts me on May 11th, I'd already taken care of to turn the water off on May 3rd.
Right.
So May 11th is,
Well,
thanks for doing that, but you're a little late. You know?
we can only do what we can do. We only read them once a month.
It's kind of late, you know, I mean, I'd already
Pause it.
turned it off.
In your particular case, it did work out that way, but we have had other situations where we've made a phone call and people said, oh, really? And then they go looking and they find a problem. So
Good, no,
that's why we do it.
yeah, that's
You know,
good.
we try to, we try to help people not have a major problem when we can, whatever we can do, because that's the limit of what we can do. Getting readings, having anything that reads on a daily basis would be astronomical in cost for us as a utility, and that would be then, of course, passed on to the customers, which that would be a pretty significant increase in rates for that kind of technology.
I can't reiterate enough how much I admire the work that you guys do. And this is an example of absolutely the right thing to do, all right? And you did it for me on May 11th. Fortunately, I was able to catch it a week or so earlier.
Yeah.
All right? And that's why I'm here saying, let's take a look at this rule or policy that you people are responsible for overseeing, all right? Because, any person who's got a house with a toilet in it can have a malfunction in this device. And any person who would look at a bill that went from $33 to $1,060 in 1 month, and then find out it wasn't even for the whole month, and it wasn't even for all of the water that they used for the whole month, it was for one specific incident. There wasn't any water at all used in the entire house or the lawn or anything other than this one incident with a cracked.
They utilize 7,000 gallons per day.
Huh?
That little crack costs 7,000 gallons of water per day.
And that's possible, Chris, yeah, 7,000 gallons.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It's my exact point.
Right, but
Yeah.
these people that do have problems with their toilets generally are occupying the home. They realize the damage. You weren't in the home and had no way of knowing the damage was there.
Correct.
But it's not our fault.
It's, don't question that that's true, all right? I would say that there are a lot of different ways that you could go about addressing this issue, all right, when somebody has something like this befallen them. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can address this issue, and there's a lot of ways that this issue is addressed by other water companies. I've done my work on this.
Is this where the Dallas has, where their policy,
Yeah,
and that's,
since you mentioned it, I went ahead
Dallas.
and pulled a copy of
Were
what
they-
Dallas policy is in their practice off of their website.
Right.
I mean,
So well, even better, you've got the policy. Their policy is pretty simple. I had
time.
people look into it, and what they do is, if you got let's say you got a busted pipe that's flooding your house, you get it fixed, you take the invoice, you give it to the water company. They reimburse you for that, 100%. Then what they do is they go back 6 months, and they take your average cost of water over 6 months, and that's your bill for the month, when you've had this disaster occur. That's what they do, across the board, whether it's leaky toilets, whether it's busted pipes, you name it. That's what they do down in Dallas, and they don't have nearly, all right, the access to water that you people do. The cost of their water is significantly higher than the cost of yours. That's their policy.
Well, the underlying reason for the leak was the fact that it wasn't winterized.
No, it was winterized.
Well,
It was winterized. For some reason, that knob below the toilet was not turned off. Usually it is turned off, it wasn't turned off. I don't know why it wasn't turned off. I know that it made absolutely no difference whatsoever from November, December, January, February, March, April. And then for some reason, it broke. The water wasn't running. Why did it break? Nobody knows. I don't know. Nobody was there.
I thought you said you had an individual come and winterize it.
Yeah, we did have a guy winterize it in November.
Okay.
And I think
And
for whatever reason,
he didn't turn the bell.
he didn't turn that one off.
All right. So that's where your recourse should be, I would think.
Hmm?
Your recourse should probably be with that individual who failed
Well,
to do his
no,
job.
I can't go to that guy and say,
So you're,
hey, first of all, the guy's dying of cancer. He's literally dying of cancer.
I understand.
He's not gonna make it.
So you're looking to us to reimburse you for a problem that was probably his doing.
It could happen to anybody. Could happen to you. Could happen to anybody here. It could happen to your family. It could happen to your children. It could happen to God knows how many poor people live here. And the water bill going from $33 to $1,000 would be a heavy taste. Especially when the penalty for not paying this thing on time is $67.
It's-
This is,
The penalty-
you guys have to
penalty is-
take a look at this
The
rule.
penalty is a
You really
percentage
do.
of the penalty is based on a percentage of the outstanding balance. So once it hasn't been paid on, we have the due date on the bill, and if it goes past that due date, then there's a penalty.
Right.
Yeah, $67 in this case.
For that amount, right. Do we have a payment program?
We do,
Something like that?
yeah,
That's what I thought.
and I believe one of the ladies had mentioned to you that you could pay it over a 12-month period, if you want it, and you said that you weren't interested in that at that point. That's what I was told by the folks that were down here when you came the first time. So, I did talk to them, asked them what they found, what they were talking to you about, so. But I mean, that is something that we do offer. We do offer to extend the time frame over up to 12 months, so that it's, try to spread it out, so somebody's not getting hammered too hard.
Do Ways of County?
We can, yeah.
Okay.
We do, when we have situations where something like this occurs and there's some back and forth, we've been known to do that, yeah.
Tell me, Chris, have you, in your 23 years experience, 23 years experience, right?
26, but yeah.
26, right, 26 years. Have you ever seen a house that's been closed down for 6 months, all right, have something like this happen, which went on for no more than 20 out of the 30 days in the month, and probably a lot less. Let's call it 15 days, just to statistically be, all right? Have you ever seen that happen in your life, other than to me?
Yeah. I have seen short-term.
I'm not talking about people that are living in their houses And they're using washing machines and dryers and
I'm dead serious.
lockdown situation
Short-term leak through toilet like that can add up really, really fast.
for $1,000.
Well, I've
Based
seen,
on the volume, yeah.
No,
No,
$1,000
I'm
bill.
not talking about the dollars. I was
No,
talking about the
I
volume.
know, you're not talking about that.
Well, because
I'm talking about the dollars.
because our bill is based on the volume, so I have to go by the
I
volume.
understand that, but
And the
what I'm
volume.
saying is, I'm talking about the dollars.
I've
You're
seen-
talking about the volume. I'm talking about
I've seen
$33 to $1,060.
I've seen
To
bigger.
half a
Wait a
month.
second.
I've seen bigger.
Chris, is the rate the same whether you eat per gallon, if you use 1,000 gallons or 139,000 gallons?
Because we do have points where you end up going into a lower price per unit.
Okay.
When a unit is 100 cubic feet. But that's after you get to 20,000 units. And he used, or I'm sorry, 200 units. When you hit 200 units, you go into the lower price per unit.
Lower price.
He was at 186 units. So all of his usage was within that first tier of our rate.
So his rate per gallon,
That shouldn't
he got charged the same as he will in August per gallon. I mean, this year, I mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to know, I didn't want to make sure there was no acceleration clause in there or anything, because you're using an excess amount of water.
No, we don't. Because we are a water-rich state, Indiana is fortunate that the majority of our utilities in the state have a decreasing rate tier system where the more water you use, the cheaper it gets per unit. When you go out west to like Texas, California, places like that where there's scarcity of water, you have the opposite, where the more you use, the more expensive it gets.
Okay. Very good.
I've experienced a couple situations actually worse than yours. Sitting on this board. And I also belong to a club that got billed $1,200 for a leak, well, it was a flood actually.
The flood.
The faucet wasn't turned off or broke. And our portion of that was like $600. And the water department, even though I was president of it, didn't budge on it. However, the sanitation district cut theirs in half. So I would suggest you approach the sanitation district. And from our point, I think we can waive the late fee and put you on a 12-month payment program for that bill.
Well, I'm gonna pay the bill. I mean, I'm not here to not pay my bill. I will pay the bill on time. All right? I have no problem doing that. If that's what the decision is. But how you could possibly make that kind of decision is something I just don't understand. I just don't, I don't think if you sat down and explained it to your grandchildren, that the toilet broke for 15 days and the water bill went from $33 to $1,060, I don't think you could explain it to them. I don't think they'd understand it. And I don't think anybody in this town who owns a house, right, when hearing about this, would say, oh, well, that's tough. He deserved that. It was his fault. He did something wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. At all.
I personally, for 20 years, winterized 20 cottages in Porter Beach. And with the checklist I went through, one of those things on the checklist is shut off the toilets.
All right, no, right, yeah.
Somewhere along the line that didn't occur here.
That's right. That's right.
I didn't have any issues with any of those cottages.
No, I'm not saying that there was a mistake that was
For
made.
people that actually own homes and live in homes, that's a whole different ballgame. They can hear at night the water running on the toilet,
I understand that.
so they get it fixed.
Mine's a special case.
Well, I don't know how special it is. There's a lot of people in this town that do, what they call, head south during the winter.
To do what?
They're head south during the winter. They leave their homes here.
Yeah, well, I'm one of them. Like I said, I live in Dallas, Texas. This year, we weren't here all year long. This was one of the years we weren't here all year long. It was one of the years we didn't come up for Christmas or Thanksgiving. I did come up in February because I had to go to a Hall of Fame induction ceremony for a buddy of mine at Purdue. So we were there for a little bit in February. And, but yeah, I mean, it happened. You had a faulty mechanism, it broke. No reason why, it just did. It's all written down and you can,
We read through it. We extensively read through all this back.
good, good.
Well, we can take this under advisement and at our next exec session.
Good, that's all I can ask.
And
Take it under advisement, give it some thought.
in the interim,
And,
I suggest you also approach the sanitation department.
I'm leaving it with you, I'm leaving it in your hands, so.
Well, we have no jurisdiction over that.
That's fine, I'll still leave it in your hands, for at least the water department part.
Well, yeah.
And I'll await your decision. I appreciate the time. I'm big fans of you guys. I think that, this is the kind of thing that can happen to anybody, and that certainly should be something you take into consideration, specifically since it's not setting a precedent with what other water companies around the country do. And you've corroborated that. But thank you again. I appreciate your time, and I will pay my bill.
Did you fix the toilet? Did you fix the toilet?
Did I fix the toilet?
The toilet.
Oh, yeah, I had a plumber come out and get all it's working. Yeah. No, as soon as we found out what the problem was, we had it fixed. He went out and he brought in a new gizmo and fixed it right up, nothing to it. It was a faulty mechanism. Faulty mechanism, that was all. You know, it just sat there, and for whatever reason it broke. Why did that happen? I don't know. I don't think anybody does know.
Go back to the manufacturer of the mechanism if it's faulty.
Oh, shucks, you know how that stuff goes. It doesn't work at all. I'm supposed to go back to the manufacturer and say, your mechanism broke you only $1,000. It's not gonna happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
So I'm just taking a note, the board's taking this under advisement for further discussion. Okay. We'll take that.
Well, the sanitation is a good point, have to bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just enlightening him that he would have this more than the water bill.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just pretty ironclad, how we've always done things.
Right, whole business.
Anyway,
I was doing new business.
Old business.
Doing the business.
I was doing the business.
how you guys.
Under old business, we just started construction activities over in the town of the Pines for the extensions on Pine and Poplar Streets in town of the Pines. They have also, their town board has decided that they're going to be putting in paying for the taps for the houses that are along this route. So the town is preparing a purchase order to give to us, and then we'll do those taps and invoice them.
So we're going with,
So
So we should get 100% participation in
the lines out on west.
from the sounds, from what the town said, it sounds like probably out of the 10, a pretty good chance that 7 or 8 will actually tie on to it. There's a couple that want it, they want the tap done, but there's no guarantee that they're actually going to tie on to it
Okay.
or that they can afford to tie on to
I
it.
gotcha, okay.
So, but the town decided that because they had the money to use, it's the ARPA money that they're using for this, that they wanted to add that part in for their residents.
Good.
Because these are the few people that were not part of their properties were not part of the contaminated properties that got water however many years ago it was when we actually took over, when the water mains were all installed and we took over the Pines of water. That's all I have, I think, for old business.
New business?
Under new business, I just wanted to verify, I guess that the board, it looks like we may have a candidate identified for the distribution foreman position. And I just want to make sure that as long as we're within the amount that was approved prior for the last person, that I'm okay to go forward and make an offer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I think that might have to do a vote.
I'll make a motion, Chris.
To
I'll make a motion to authorize Superintendent Chris Johnson to proceed with negotiations with a new plant foreman at the predetermined, or distribution foreman at the rates discussed previously.
I'll second it.
All right, there's a motion and a second, and we allow Chris to negotiate the distribution foreman position at a rate as previously discussed. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This resolution? This resolution?
what resolution is there?
Item number 6.
We don't have that must be something that was still in your folder.
That was from previous.
Meeting.
Okay.
We only had 5 items.
That's what I thought. All right, any other new business?
I have no other new business.
Okay. Public comment. I guess we've had enough of that. Director's comments.
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Mission City Water Board.
I'll second it.
Motion second, we adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.